We in here with the new fastest deck in Standard, turn 3 kills galore. The best deck? No, I wouldn't say so necessarily, but this is going to be pushing the barometer of what's possible and how you have to adapt to stay afloat in the new Standard. Welcome in, fam. Much love, Trav here. I hope you're doing wonderful. We're going to get into this deck list in a minute, but just want to express my gratitude for being here. I haven't made a video on Magic in a while, but I'm happy to still have this platform. I'm really happy to still be able to participate in the community, even when I'm living on a tiny island in the middle of the Pacific, so far away from the community, so far away from so many of these brothers and friends that I made. And I'm really, really, really thankful for all the people that I've been able to reach and all of the people that I've been able to meet. So if any of y'all ever are passing through Hawaii, hit me up, come through, check it out. So let's get to the deck. So I was doing my Magic Mastermind call yesterday, and we were looking at the new spoilers and brewing it up, and Dreadhorde Arcanist passed my eye. 1 in a red for a 1/3, 2 mana 1/3. It's a zombie and it's a wizard. Zombie's relevant for a mass. Wizard is relevant for plenty of things in Standard, a few things in Eternal. It has Trample, which is a weird ability on a 1/3. It says, whenever Dreadhorde Arcanist attacks, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to Dreadhorde Arcanist's power from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. Then you'd exile it. That's fucking sick, dog. So, I mean, first of all, it's just kind of a repetitive value. It could give you Engine with Shock, with Opt, with cantrips like Warlord's Fury and stuff like that. But a couple things: 1, Trample, and 2, power less than or equal to. Obviously, this card is pretty nice with pump spells. It's functionally has double strike. So let me hit you with the one of the turn 3 kills. Dreadhorde Arcanist, Collision Colossus, give it +4/+2 on the 3rd turn, and then flash that back, so you give it +9/+4. It's got triple trample, so it's +4 +8/+4, so it's a 9/7 trample with 2 cards, and then boom, thud to the face is 18. If they took a shock, they're dead. If you shock them, they're dead. So that's pretty aggressive. Arcanist is also pretty efficient with Giant Growth. 1 green and attack. It's a 7/9. And Giant Growth is at times even a modern card, and in fact, it's a decent Standard card. And it just got the reprint in the new set. I saw it in the spoiler. Defiant Strike's another nice possibility. That's gonna, it doesn't give first strike, but it draws a card, which is pretty nice. So you get a 3/3, draw 2. It gives you a card advantage engine in this sort of a deck. It's pretty sweet. Now a couple other cards. Yeah, let's say the main printings are Dreadhorde Arcanist and a Giant Growth. Although we'll get into Feather and some other stuff in a minute. Swiftblade Vindicator. Double Strike is at times playable. Get it, it's fragile to Goblin Chain Whirler. It's fragile to Shock, although guess who's not fragile to Shock. And you don't have to go for it if you don't want to, but Vigilance and Trample, especially Trample, is a pretty sick ability to have printed on the card. You play Vindicator turn 2, you play 2 Giant Growths on turn 3, swing in with a 7/7 double strike Vigilance Trample, hit them for 14 thud for the game. I'm not saying that's going to happen all the time, but it's more turn 3 kills than you normally see in Standard. So those are the main 2 drops, which are going to be your avenues to victory. Let's look at the other ones. One of them, it drops off a little bit after that, and I'm up for debate. I like Cruel Harpooner. Between Harpooner and Collision Colossus, it gives you a lot of game versus mono blue, random flyers. I like Harpooner because in the late game you play Harpooner, you don't fight, you got 4 creatures in your bin, +4/+0 Undergrowth, thud to the face. I mean, depending on how things go, and it gives you a pretty decent late game where you can just blast people out if there's lots of trading and the game goes long, which is nice. A couple ways you can take this deck. I'll explain why I went this direction. Then we're going with 10th District Legionnaire. It's not my favorite, but 2 mana 2/2 haste. When you cast a spell that targets 10th District Legionnaire, you put a +1 counter on it and scry. Collision Colossus it. You put a +1 counter 3, you hit them for 7, you scry 1. It's pretty nice with Defiant Strike. It's decent with Giant Growth. You can even shock it to put a counter on it if you want. And then the last creature that we're playing is Feather, 3 mana, 3/4 is pretty nice stats, and all your pump spells just bounce back to your hand the next time. So you can just play it, play a Giant Growth, play a Collision. Those cards go back to your hand. Play Defiant Strike as a card advantage engine. These Infect decks don't conventionally have card advantage engines, but this one has a card advantage engine. Shock. Normally in a deck like this, you wouldn't really play the interaction. You would play instead just pump spells and creatures. I kind of like Shock because it's a way for you to finish the game when we're not playing one-drop creatures, because I don't think any of them are good enough. Pellet Collector, Llanowar Elves. The red ones are a little bit weaker. White, you could play Dauntless Bodyguard, possibly. That might be better than Shock, so that you can get more turn 3 kills. Shock's another way so you can finish it. But also with Shock, Collision, and Cruel Harpooner, you have a lot of game versus Mono Blue and some other small creature decks. Although you can mix that up. This is just a suggestion. So why these 3 colors? Why not some other combination? Because the mana is definitely, it's going to be painful at times, it's going to be clunky at times, it's going to be inconsistent at times. Although, I'm a 3-color mana base with 22 duels, or 22 to 24 duels is definitely doable. It's just not necessarily ideal. So the problem is, if you're red-white, you miss out on Collision and you miss out on Giant Growth, which are way, way, way above rate in anything in red-white. If you go green-red, then you're missing out on the other good creatures, which are going to give you the fastest turn 3 kills. And then if you're on green-white, you're just missing out on Dreadhorde Arcanist, which is quite possibly one of the best cards in Standard now. And then there's black. You could play black for the Dreadhorde, that when it sacks, when it dies, it blasts them for X, where it's his power, so you like double thud them. I don't think black adds enough other than that, though. It's a possibility, but I think Naya is the way to go. So that's the deck. It's to me, it's the fastest deck in Standard. Again, I don't think it's the best. I think it'll be pretty good against Mono Blue. It's going to be pretty good against something like Sultai. It's going to be decent versus Mono Red, unless you don't get your Vindicator, Chain Lord. Well, it's probably not the best against Mono Red. Probably pretty good against Mono White, because you can attack through them. It's probably not very good versus Esper. You would want to have to side out your Shocks and your Giant Growths and your Collision Colossus and your Thud. So it's meta dependent. But if people are playing like the Mono Green or the Green Blue Tempo or these non-interactive creature decks, this is going to be way faster. You're going to force them to start chump blocking on turn 3. So again, I don't think it's necessarily the best deck, but I do think it's going to be the fastest, and it's going to force people to react. And if the metagame shifts out of balance, this deck will win tournaments and force people to just put more interaction in their deck and force them to not play more dirtily stuff. So what do y'all think? What are you excited about? I got some more deck lists I can share, but this is the one I'm most excited about. Let me know what you think in the comments. Those of you who are like, that's a sick deck, I want to build stuff like that. How'd you do that? You should check out my ebook. There's a link to that in the description. It's sold. It's an awesome book. It's also on Amazon. Put it on your coffee table. It's like 350 pages, a heavy tome of beautiful pictures, exercises, deck lists, layouts. Thousands of copies sold. I'm really proud of it, and it's helped a lot of people build better decks. You check that out. Those of you who have tournaments you're playing in and don't have a problem getting the cards that you need and have a specific measurable outcome goal that you're working towards, like getting on the Pro Tour or SCG Tour, winning something, then y'all should check it. And you want help, you want coaching. We have the best coaching setup, the best group, best network available for that, Magic Mastermind. You get not 1 but 5 coaches for the price of 1. And we've been doing that since 2015. There's a link to that down below in the description as well. You apply to that, and make sure to schedule a consultation time to speak with me. And I still am getting on the phone with not everyone who applies, but everybody qualified who applies. So that's pretty cool. And then everybody else, thanks for making it this far. I appreciate you. And try it out. Let me know how it goes. So peace out, fam. Talk to you soon.